What's up YouTube, I'm Mike, and today I'm going to make a quick video to show you my 2-year transformation. I say it like that because really that's a misleading phrase, and often when you see these transformation photos, a lot can be done to make it appear like a person had a really amazing transformation in a short period of time, and it's not really the truth. So when you see these pictures that I'm going to put up, in fact, let's just start with the pictures. So this image that you're looking at right now, as you can see on the screen, is my transformation from December of 2018 to January of 2021. So obviously if you're looking at that, and as the people on Facebook who saw that, I posted it in a Facebook group, and people were going out there, oh my God, he photoshopped it, that's an impossible transformation, how much trend did you take to get to that, all of these accusations. It was crazy, really, the level of response that picture got. And so if you don't know anything about bodybuilding, if you've never been in the gym, or even if you've been in the gym a lot of your life, you can look at that picture and imagine that transformation is completely impossible, or at the very least is super physiological. And while I admit that my physique is not natural for a number of reasons that I'll go into, primarily because I'm on testosterone replacement therapy, and that makes you by definition unnatural. The levels that my TRT clinic maintain are super physiological, and so I could never claim to be a natural lifter or bodybuilder at this point. So as you can see from that image, I put on 40 pounds of contractile tissue, more or less, in a 2-year period. I mean, you can see that I'm not only 40 pounds heavier, but quite a bit leaner in the second picture than the first side. And so again, it would be very easy to make the assumption that any number of pharmacological avenues were exploited to get those gains. Now what I'm going to show you are some very embarrassing images of me at a much younger age to illustrate and to demonstrate where my physique has progressed, or how it has progressed over the last 20 years. I've been lifting off and on since I was 16. When I was about 17 or 18, I used my first substance, which was Andro 6, a substance that Mark McGuire popularized way back in the day. It was a stupid thing to do at that age. And then I did several cycles of methyl-1 testosterone, I think 2 or 3, in my earlier years, that led to some marginal gains in size. So this first image that I'm going to show you is me in 2004, very into 2004, early 2005. So I was 24, 25 years old here. Punk ass kid, didn't know a whole lot about bodybuilding, weightlifting, really anything. And in that image I weigh about 160 pounds. So I had been hitting it pretty hard at that point. I'd been lifting for a couple, 2-3 years. Relatively steady, 4 days a week, sometimes 5 days a week. I lifted pyramid program, so 12, 10, 8, 6 reps, increasing weight as I went. I was a typical, like I said, punk ass kid that didn't know anything about bodybuilding. I completely skipped legs. I had a chest day, an arm day, a shoulder day, and a back day. All pyramid, 4 days a week usually was the schedule that I ran. I didn't know anything about dieting. I knew absolutely nothing really. The information that's available now was not as readily available then. And so it was a lot harder. We didn't have the Derricks of the world to break down all of the bodybuilding pharmacology and all of the data and the training, back in the day. So I hit it pretty hard, like I said, kept going, did a couple of cycles of methyl-1 testosterone, and got up to this image that's on your screen now of me right before my first kid was born, my first son was born, and I got up to about 170, 172 pounds, which was the heaviest I got in my youth. You can see that I put on some size, but primarily I got fatter. It was a dirty bulk, and again, I didn't really know what I was doing. And so after my first kid was born, I really just took a break for a long time, almost 6 years. I would dabble here and there, but it was never something that was really, a part of my life, nothing that was done consistently, certainly no consistent dieting. And so then you fast forward to 2012, where you see this image of my back, and I had been back in the gym for a little while. I had been focusing on my diet, and as you can see, there's some favorable lighting going on here, but I have a decent, some pretty decent development in my back. Again, this is not natural, but it was certainly not steroids. There was no testosterone, DECA, none of these things, just methyl 1 testosterone in the past, and the andro 6, way in the past. And so, for a small guy, I have some decent genetics, I guess. To give you an idea of my starting point, when I started lifting in high school, I was about 5'9.5", 130 pounds soaking wet. So in the first 3 years of training, I got up to about the 164, 165 mark. Again, which is what you would expect from consistent training. Naturally, 30 pounds in 3 years is not a lot of weight to gain. Again, my diet was not on point. I did not have any clue what I was doing, and so that's where I was. And that's where I basically hung out, was in that very high 150 to middle 160 mark. That's sort of where I was at. And so then you flash forward to this probably the last image that I'm going to show you, which is me in 2014. Very scary image. The only reason I'm even showing this, as embarrassing it is to look at, is to show you the leanness. So one of the comments that I got a lot in that transformation video was, how could I possibly get so crazy lean? Getting lean for me is really very easy. You can see the abs and the dryness or the dry look and the really, sucked up look in that picture. I was training, I wasn't eating much, I was almost certainly in a deficit. And so that's the way I looked. You can see the shoulder development. I mean, obviously there's no substantial contractile tissue on this frame at all, but very lean, peeled abdomen. So the reason I show you all of this, again, is to, when you go back to this image now of this 2018 to 2021, end of 2020 transformation, if I had never trained in my life and hadn't built my way up and built some, some foundation of contractile tissue, a decade in the past, if I was a completely untrained individual there in that first image at 144, and then shot up to 185 in 2 years' time, obviously there's a lot going on there. And again, I'm not sitting here saying that this was all done naturally. I will make videos at a later date going into those details for reasons that are not important. I cannot go into them now. So again, I just wanted to drive home these 2 points, that one, you have to be very careful with transformation videos, transformation images, because it's so easy to present these very, vastly differing conditions and make it look like, wow, this is this amazing thing that a person accomplished, when really that first image of me at 144 pounds, the reason I looked that way is because I'd been on Adderall prescribed by my doctor for years, and I'd started abusing it, and I was literally not eating or sleeping for days on end. And so I got completely sucked up. As embarrassing as this is to admit, I had gone from like that 170 range way back before my first son was born. And then, when I started the Adderall, I was hovering around the 157, 160 mark that you saw in that picture of the back double bicep. I got so sucked up on Adderall that I got down to like 129, 28 pounds. I can't remember the exact number. My wife could tell you. Really like on the verge of death. So I got as low as like 130, let's call it. And then got off all the Adderall, got off the psych meds, decided this was not for me, it was killing me. Had about 6 months, a period of time, where I just started eating normally again and sleeping, and got back up to that 144 pound mark, which is basically just what my body would carry naturally without any training. If I'm just sitting around on my ass playing video games, that's what I look like. And so I got up back basically to that starting point of around 144, and then decided that I had to do something. Psychologically, I was not in a good place. And I decided to go back to the only thing that's ever really worked for me consistently in life, which was weight training, bodybuilding. And so I started hitting it really hard in December of 2018. I lifted completely naturally for almost a year, and then my doctor put me on testosterone replacement therapy. And so at the 1 year mark in 2019, I took this picture, which shows you a much better representation of the progress that was made in that 2 year period. So you've got 2018 to 2019. I'm about 174 pounds here, not nearly as lean, but some appreciable gains. And then you flash forward another year and 185, pretty peeled. So hopefully this has been informative. Hopefully you guys got something out of this. Be very careful when you're looking at these transformation videos, photos. They're not always real. And never give up on your gains. Like, I really hammered my body, and looking in the mirror, it appeared that I had lost everything. And so at that 144 mark, getting back into the gym, it feels like you've got this massive uphill climb just to get back to where you were. And really it took me about a year of lifting naturally to get back to my starting position, and really a little bit more. So clearly you don't completely lose the gains you make in life. The changes that you can accomplish with your physique, they're going to stay around with you for a long period of time, even when you abuse your system and don't eat well. So I won't beat the point anymore. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. A lot more content to follow. Thank you again for all the new subscribers, and we'll see you on the next one.